session. We will extend this for about 8 minutes. And so to Chief of Interpretation, Todd Stoeberl, I hope I'm saying that correctly. We have corrected
that's right. Yeah.
We have definitely corrected the spelling on the agenda. So.
That's no problem.
I am going to find you right now and make sure that you are highlighted with us. Can you say hello again?
Yeah, I'm right here.
There we are. Okay, yeah, the video isn't
Yeah.
working a little bit.
I don't know
So
why my video is not working. I got my camera on, but it doesn't want to work. I don't know what's going on.
we had that issue a little bit yesterday. Laura, do you want to go ahead and record for us?
We are recording.
Oh, great. Okay. I didn't hear the announcement. So for folks who may have questions for Todd for the Grand Canyon National Park, please go ahead and put them into the chat or come right off of mute, and we're here and happy to facilitate it. I'll kick us off while folks are generating their questions. Todd, from your perspective, you've been working in the park and maybe alongside of the initiatives that have been happening. Do you feel like what we just saw from the superintendent's talk is pretty in alignment with your experience? Do you have anything that you would add?
No, actually, yeah, those are exactly the things that we've been working on. And I know Ed has a really strong passion with bringing the Indigenous perspective back to the park. And that's a strong passion of mine as well, since I manage our interpretive operations here at the park, and super excited to have a superintendent that really wants to make that happen, and looking forward to what products and things that we can do in the future, and bringing that perspective back to the park. We've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to actually be able to hire a couple of Native interpreters recently onto the staff. So we have one out at Desert View, Kelly Jones, and then most recently I hired one here in the village, Kelkiani Yazi. Both of them are Dene, but bring a great perspective to the park, and looking forward to what they can offer visitors and help share the stories, their stories, to park visitors.
That's great. Thanks, Todd. All right, I know there are questions out there. So what questions are out there? Imagine that we're at Hatch, we're in all of our camp chairs, we're tentatively raising that hand. Go ahead and put it in the chat. What are you curious about in terms of the river program coming back? What are you curious about in terms of the science that Superintendent talked about? So we have one in the chat. I would love to see a geologic map as part of the park's interp. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of space to display some things like that. But certainly, that's a really important part of, obviously, our interpretive story of the geological story of Grand Canyon, and being able to see that in a map is really, really critical to better understanding all the rock layers and the environments that those layers were laid down in, and how the canyon was formed. We have a really great partnership with Carl Carlstrom and Lori Crossley over at University of New Mexico. They do a lot of that kind of work on behalf of us, and certainly I know that they are very passionate about maps as well. And so we've certainly utilized their expertise in helping us to educate my staff so that they can help visitors understand the geological story here.
Thanks, Todd. Another one, what is being done to help / encourage river guides to provide the First Peoples perspectives and thoughts on river trips?
Yeah, we've been working a little bit with the Grand Canyon Trust on some of this. They started an initiative of developing some curriculum for river guides, I believe. We've kind of stepped in a little bit with that and trying to help them along. Certainly our relationship with the Intertribal Working Group is really important. They also have their own Indigenous group that they meet with as well. And so there's definitely a lot of collaboration happening, and looking forward to ways that we can help you all tell that story better and understand it for the visitors who travel down the river. So it's definitely a work in progress, and we're definitely working towards that.
Thanks, Todd. I know one of our speakers today will be addressing that a little bit more, and I believe the ICCG was maybe able to meet in person for the first time in a couple of years, and so that's been some real promise and progress. We've got another question. What about a river map that incorporates Indigenous names when appropriate? Any work on that in terms of what you were talking about, Todd?
Yeah, we haven't really thought about that, but definitely, I think that's another very important concept is recognizing the different names, and it's one of the things we're kind of struggling with because we have 11 different tribes. It's hard to try to get that all incorporated into a map and different place names and so forth. But that is certainly another aspect that we're working on, even on the rim here, of looking at different monuments and buttes and things like that, and start to incorporate some of those names when we go back to replace some of these signs that are pretty dated and don't recognize that. So that is something we're also working on as well.
Thanks. And person wanted to acknowledge that appropriate meaning as desired by Indigenous members.
Yep, absolutely.
So a couple more questions that will round us out for this Q&A session. Are there any cooperative resources, trips, / projects in the planning or scheduling phase? I've heard that Ed is prioritizing bringing these back.
Yeah, we're doing some stuff with Grand Canyon Youth on the river. I'm not all familiar yet with all the different trips that we got planned for this upcoming season. They haven't been completely finalized, but I do know that Grand Canyon Youth is getting back on the river, and we're working with them with Science and Resource Management, and a little bit with our education branch that we have here too. But I do know that that's something that Ed is very much encouraging and wanting us to do again.
That's great. Where is the project at for being able to display the historic boats of early river runners?
Yeah, that's an ongoing project that we're working with Grand Canyon Conservancy on, and we still haven't made as much progress as we probably want to on that. Trying to find a space, perhaps maybe the powerhouse that Ed mentioned in his video could possibly be something, or maybe another building that we're going to get back from Xanterra in the near future that could possibly be a venue that we could actually place those boats in, but nothing concrete at the moment. But it's certainly something that's on our minds, and the Conservancy keeps reminding us of that obligation. So we're working definitely with them on that.
Thanks, Todd. And this final question will round out our time so we can give folks a little bit of a break before our next speakers. What about having more citizen science on commercial trips?
Yep, absolutely. That is something that I'm sure Dave Worthington, who's going to be speaking with the group tomorrow, is going to address. And that is something that Ed is very much keen on as well, and wants more participation from the guides, especially to help us manage the river. As you talk about co-management in the video, we're talking about that with tribes, but we look at you all as river guides as co-managers of the river as well. And I'm pretty sure that he wants to see some more of those types of things, and we just got to figure out what that is, and working with your organization to figure out how to better do that and incorporate that citizen science to bring out that stewardship that we really want with the visitors who float down the river.
Todd, thanks so much. Thanks for the time that you've spent with us today. Please pass along our gratitude to the team for the video that was shared. Maybe you'll stick around if folks have extra questions. You can direct message Todd if you'd like. But right now, we really want to honor a break time